Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here, my name is Anai and I'm actually going to be telling you guys my teen mom story. Got pregnant when I was 13 years old, and it was with my boyfriend at the time, which we really weren't together for a really long time before I got pregnant. I was still living with my mom. Obviously, like, I'm 13 years old, like I'm still gonna be living with my mom. But I remember, like, okay, we're gonna like start since like the very beginning, when like we met, how we met and everything. So we met like online, like I'm not even gonna say here and lie, like we met like on Facebook. And I remember it was like during the summer when we first talked, but I kind of ignored him. Like, I just really didn't want to talk to anybody. And like in, I want to say like in November we kind of started talking. And I remember in December he asked me to be his girlfriend, but it was like through text because my parents are like were really strict. Like, I can't even tell you guys how much my parents have changed now, but my parents were really strict back then. Like, they wouldn't let us have like guy friends or like friends in general, pretty much, because like if we had like a girl and she was our friend, like we could never have sleepovers or anything like that. Like, it was like, Mexican parents. So me and this guy were like, we kept talking. I'm gonna name him, we're gonna say B. So me and B were talking for like a really, like a good amount of time. Not a lot, but like a good amount of time. And I remember on December 29th, he asked me to be his girlfriend over a text, and obviously I said yes. Like, I never really had like an actual, like, I guess like when you like actually fall in love kind of thing. So I guess I actually started really feeling something for this kid, and he was like older than me. Obviously, he's still older than me, but like it's different. Um, so I was 13 and he was 17, and I remember we kind of like started hanging out, um, like without me telling my parents or anything. Like, I remember the first time we met, I told my mom that I was going to the movies with my friend, and I wasn't lying. Like, me and my friend were really going to the movies. So it was me and A. Her name was, I'm not gonna say her name because me and her aren't friends anymore, but me and A like went to the movies. I don't know how I convinced my parents, but like B was gonna be there because I told him to like go, that we can meet there. And I remember like it was crazy because I had like an iPod, so like the iPod wouldn't work without Wi-Fi, so I had to like connect to the Wi-Fi and tell them that I was there. And like we went in to see the movie and everything. And I remember like the first time I saw him, I'm like, you look like a grown man, like, because I mean he was older than me, he was 17. So I'm like, you kind of look like you're gonna kidnap me. So I told him that, and he was like, what, like, why would you think that of me, and like stuff like that. So we went and watched the movie with my friend, and we were like eating popcorn and everything like that. And then he was like the movie ended and everything, and then it was like, when am I gonna see you again? And I told him that I really didn't know because of my parents. And then I remember like we would like start, like I told my mom that I was gonna stay after school to see my friend play. And like I was really seeing my friend play, but like I went with him. I went with B to like the park and stuff, and there was like a park near my school. So like we went and we were pretty much chilling. And like I think a month after we like were dating, so this was like January 28th, I actually like lost my virginity and stuff. And it was like TMI, but it's the truth. And like I really didn't think anything of it. Like, I was in 8th grade. I like back then, like my parents were so like strict, and we really, like, who was there to tell me like, you're supposed to stay here, and like if like the condom breaks or whatever happens, like you can get pregnant and stuff like that. And I wasn't really like educated on that topic, so it was like I didn't know what to do. But a couple like weeks went by, and on February 14th, on February 13th, we actually like he came to my house and stuff. And I know that that's the day that I got pregnant. Like, I know because I remember that like it happened. And then like I didn't know what to do because like I didn't know what plan B was back then, because now I'm just kidding. But I remember like I knew like that was the day because Alexander was born November 13th, and it's crazy because they said that he was gonna be born the 7th, but like my period has always been irregular, so nobody really knew. But then like my parents, I remember I told my mom about him too. I told my mom about him, and I told her that he was 15, and he really wasn't 15, he was 17. And my mom like kind of like started letting me see him, but like outside of the house. Like it was like, okay, you guys can talk on the porch kind of thing. So I remember like I just kept throwing up, and it was like the morning sickness, but I really didn't think anything of it. I just thought I like ate something, and in school like I started throwing up too, and I just like started blaming it on the food and stuff. Like I was really like naive and whatever. But one time like he came, like I didn't go to school, and he came over, and then like my mom like found out that he had came over, so she made me take a pregnancy test. And guys, like this is where everything goes like downhill. Like it was like horrible. Like now thinking about it, every single time I think about it, like I just want to cry, even though like I don't have feelings for this boy anymore. But like it just makes me want to cry because it's just like, I don't know, it was just, I guess in that moment, but it was like really hard. So my mom made me take a pregnancy test, and she watched me take the pregnancy test. Well, she watched me pee in the cup, and then she like put it on like the pregnancy test or whatever, and like it came back positive. And she was like, how am I supposed to tell your dad now? Like your dad didn't even know that you had a boyfriend or whatever. So she was like, you're gonna have to tell him. And like a lot of freaking things went down that day, and my mom called him, and they made his mom come over, and they were talking about it. We were like, me and him were just crying and crying and crying. And fuck, I just didn't know I was gonna cry. Like why am I being such a little bitch? But like he said that he was gonna like stay there, like that he was gonna like help me with the baby and stuff. And then my parents, like we had to basically file a police report just because of his age, because after like my parents found out he had already turned 18, and like the age of consent is 16 where I live. But it's like my mom was mostly scared for like like the freaking child services thing to like take her away from us, because supposedly something had happened before, like with one of her friends and whatever. So we had to like basically file a police report, and we went to like the police station, and my mom basically made me tell them everything. And it was just so embarrassing. Like I still remember to this day that interpreter that was in the room with us, like I literally wanted to punch him in the fucking face, because he was like translating everything to my parents. Like, dude, this is like mad weird. How are you gonna sit here and tell you like everything that I'm saying? Like there's no reason for you to sit here and translate, but whatever. Like like he just really made me mad. But after like that happened, I had to go to this like place where basically they like interviewed me, because it was gonna be like a video for the court. And like the detective that my parents were talking to, he was saying that basically my parents could drop all the charges against him, and you know my parents would still have the police report and everything, and nothing would like, they were like nothing would be wrong, because it was consensual. And my parents really didn't want him to like go to jail, because I remember like I told my parents that if he went to jail, like I remember this exactly, like my mom was laying down with me in bed, and she was like just telling me all this stuff, and I was just like, if oh fuck, I was just like, if you like put him in jail, I'm gonna blame you, because like my kid just is not gonna have a dad. And it was just so freaking hard. Like ah shit. I get like super sentimental about this because it was like really fucking hard to go through all this fucking shit. And I know like some of you are gonna sit here and fucking say that like, oh, it was your fault, you're the one that got pregnant. Well, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, bad. So I mean, I did like felt things for this kid, but it's just the fact that I had to go through something like this at such a young age. But I remember like me and my mom laying down in bed, and she was asking me if I wanted him to like go to jail and stuff like that, and I told her that I didn't, because I didn't want my kid to grow up without a dad. Like, I didn't want like my kid to like not have a dad and his dad to be in jail. And I remember I told my mom that I would never forgive her if she did something like that. And like, they dropped the charges against him because obviously I wasn't gonna like sit here and say that, you know, it wasn't consensual. So they dropped the charges and everything, and I was pregnant. And then like my birthday came and I turned 14. And at first we couldn't like really see each other, so I remember like he would have to sit here and like send me notes of this little like kid in the neighborhood. And he would like wait for me at the bus stop when my mom wasn't there, and we would like talk. And it was just like a lot. Like, you guys, like, I went through a whole lot of shit. But like after a couple months, like like my parents would like let me see him and stuff like that. Like, we would still have to, if we would like go to the movies or to the store or something like that, like I would have to take my little sister. But it was a lot. So then like my birthday came and I turned 14, and then like, you know, like like honestly, like my whole pregnancy was just like literally like me going to school and everything like that. And I honestly like wasn't really in school because like I got pregnant like around February. I didn't really find out till like, I want to say like April-ish or March, like the very end of March. Like, that the only reason why I found out that I was pregnant is because of my mom, because like I didn't have a bump or anything. Like, I didn't start showing till I was like 7 months. I just looked really chubby, but like I didn't look like chubby, but I didn't really start showing till like I was like in July. I didn't really start showing until like July or at the beginning of like June, but you couldn't really tell. That you would really have to like stare. So I remember going to school, and I remember like the kids at school would be like, oh my god, like she's pregnant or whatever. And like I was in an ROTC class, and they were like super nice, super sweet, but it was just like hard going to school because like everybody would just like stare at you, and my mom wouldn't like not like let me go to school. Like, I didn't want to go to school, I just really didn't. And it was hard going to school, to be honest. Like, being in high school, you know, you guys know how like people judge you and all this crap. But honestly, like I remember like one time I did come home crying because like they just really like wouldn't stop staring at me. And I just told my mom that I didn't want to go to school anymore. But she like kept making, like, she made me go to school. And my dad, he really didn't talk to me at all like my whole pregnancy until the baby was born. But when like I would crave, I remember I would always freaking crave Oreos like at night. I would always crave Oreos at night. And this one time, like after that, my mom always kept Oreos at the house. But the first time I ever like craved it in the middle of the night, here I go again, I'm gonna fucking cry. I'm not gonna cry. Shit. I remember like my dad went to the store and he like got me Oreos, and it was just like, fuck, why am I crying? I feel like I'm really like reliving the moment, like crap. So I remember like my dad went to go get me Oreos, but he didn't tell me that he went. Like, I just remember somebody leaving, and then I went to the kitchen like after like he came back, and like the Oreos were like on the table and stuff, and I like took them to my room and I was eating them. But like after I remember, oh, so one time I had to go to the hospital because I was bleeding, and it wasn't time for me to have the baby yet. This was like in September when I started bleeding. Like I felt like I was gonna have a freaking, it was like no way I was gonna have a miscarriage, because it was like I was way too ahead. And we went to the hospital and everything, and it turned out that it wasn't nothing. And she said that maybe like it wasn't really anything. So I was fine, the baby was fine. And then November came around, and I remember I went to school on like my due date because I wasn't feeling anything. Like I didn't feel anything. I was fine. Like I was like, no, I'm okay. Like there's like, I don't feel anything. Like I'm fine. I'm gonna go to school. So I went to school, and then that weekend I started feeling like pains. I started feeling pains around, I want to say it was November 12th, around like it was close to nighttime. I remember we had went to the park. No, we had ate. We went to this place and we ate, and like we just went to the park after that. We were just walking around, and me and B were walking around, and like I just told him that I wasn't feeling good, and he was like, oh, it's maybe because you like ate. And I was like, maybe. So then we went home, and he just stayed with me, and it was like late at night. It was like 10, and I told him that I wasn't feeling good, and he was still like at my house, and I told him that I wasn't feeling good, that like we should go walk. So I told my mom that we were gonna go walk around because I wasn't feeling good, that I was like starting to feel like dizzy, and I started to feel pains. And then I remember we were like walking around the neighborhood. We kept walking and walking and walking, and then I had like really sharp pains, and I like just couldn't take it anymore. And then my mom told me that I really like needed to know that like once I get to the hospital, they're not gonna let me get up. Yes. And I remember like we left, and they like checked me in. They asked me questions like how, when was my due date and everything like that. And I told them that I was actually like overdue according to like the due date that they gave me. So they took me to this like little room, and they were just checking the contractions and everything. And then a couple like hours later, I think it was like around like 4 in the morning, because I was still in labor. Like I was with Alexander, like my labor was like the longest one ever. Like it was horrible. I was traumatized after that. So then around 7 in the morning, they pretty much they put this thing in my IV that would like make me like super sleepy, because my mom wouldn't let me get the epidural, because she said there was like a lot of things about it, so she didn't let me get the epidural. And this was already Monday, so it was like Monday around like 7 in the morning when they did that. And they also basically broke my water, because my water wasn't broken. And like I remember I just wanted to get up. I wanted to walk and walk and walk, because I wasn't feeling good. And B took me outside of like in the hallway, and we were just walking and walking, and I just didn't feel good. And I was just starting to have the contractions started to get really bad. And I went back. They brought me like a ball for me to like bounce on and everything, and it just really wouldn't do anything. And then I went back, I laid down, I was started to feel super sleepy again, super loopy, because they put another round of it, and I don't remember what it was called. And then I remember they made me watch like a video on how like they do the epidural, and I told my mom that I wanted to get it, and she said no, that she wasn't going to sign for it. And then one of the nurses told me that I could sign for it if I really wanted to. But I really didn't want to disrespect my mom in that moment. I was just like, you know, like I felt like it was like the most I could do was like get pregnant at an early age, so I really didn't want to like disrespect her even more. So I remember I was like, no, like I'm not gonna get the epidural, like I'm just not gonna do it. And then again, I wanted to walk and I wanted to walk, and they told me not to get up. Like the doctor didn't want to let me get up, and I just like, I remember him holding me down, my mom holding me down, his mom holding me down, one of the nurses holding me down, and I was like, no, I need to get up. Like, I just need to leave me alone. And I remember I like pushed them off. Like, being in labor is not a freaking joke. Like, it is something like horrible, to be honest. Like, being in all that freaking pain, like, it's just like a lot. So I remember I pushed them off and I told them that I just needed to walk, I needed to walk. And then when I told my mom that I couldn't take it anymore, I remember I was laying down and I was like, I couldn't take it anymore. Like, I really wanted to just get the epidural. I just kept, like, I remember I kept crying, and I just told her that I just wanted to get it. Like, I couldn't take the pain anymore. And the nurse came in and she like checked me and she was like, no, like, you're 7 centimeters dilated. And I just remember like me and B just freaking crying at one point. Like, me and him were just like crying because I was like in so much freaking pain. Like, it was just the worst pain ever. And I remember like the nurse would keep coming in and she had like a student with her, and she asked me like if it was okay, and I told her that yeah, that it was okay, that, you know, she would like pretty much like watch her and ask me questions and stuff like that. For when I was just like super over it, like I just basically didn't want to freaking live anymore. Like, it was just super hard, like being in that hospital, and for them like really not letting you do anything. It was like horrible. You couldn't eat. They would like make me jello and like ice water and like Sprite, and like it was like ginger ale. And then it was like around like 4, like I want to say like 4:20, when like my mom just told me, she was like, you just need to like, she saw how like much I was suffering. She was like, you just need to like start pushing. She's like, start pushing, because I was like at 8.5 centimeters, almost at 9. And she's like, you just need to start pushing. And one of the nurses like came back in and she saw that I was pushing, so she like called the doctor. And I don't know if it was because it was like my first pregnancy or if it was because I was so young, but you guys, I was like out of it. Like, I was out of it because one, I was like in that thing that I told you guys that they put in my IV, that I was kind of like in and out, and I was like sleepy, and it was just horrible. So I remember like they put my legs up like super quick, and they just told me to keep pushing. So they would tell me when to push, and I remember I would just like, I was like in a lot of freaking pain. I remember like I freaking screamed like my freaking lungs out. Like, I really did. And I remember I screamed, and they just told me to keep pushing, and it was like that last push, and it was just like, I don't know, like it was horrible. But no, I remember when they called the doctor 30 seconds later after the doctor came in, I just remember I was like super in and out of it, and I was like, everything was super blurry, and I just saw like so many freaking doctors, nurses, I don't know what the fuck. It was like a whole freaking reunion. Like, there were so many doctors and nurses and so many people in that freaking room, and it was just like the people that I knew was B, his mom, and my mom. And but they stood on this side. They really didn't like, you know, were on the other side. But it was crazy because there were so many doctors around and nurses, and I just like was like shook, like, is everybody looking at my vagina? Like, what the heck? But I remember he was born at 4:32, and I don't know, you guys, like, just seeing him, like, he was like so cute and tiny, and I was just so happy. I was so happy because I'm like, wow, like this little human was inside me. He was like 7 pounds and I think 12 ounces, that I remember, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it was like 7 pounds and 12 ounces. And honestly, I didn't have a name for him yet. And after I had the baby and everything, they pretty much cleaned up everything. We had skin to skin and everything, and they took him away to like do a lot of tests and stuff like that. And the day after that, the social worker came in and she was talking to me, and she just asked me if we had already called the police and if we had a report that she could see, because they were gonna call the police. And I remember like that day I was just like, what the fuck, like why would they even do this, you know? So I told her that I actually had the police report, that everything had already been filed and everything, and she said okay. So I showed her the paperwork and everything, and she just like let us be pretty much. But my mom did tell me that if you know, I didn't take the police report, that they were gonna call the police, and then that there was something we could do about it. But you guys, that's it. I feel like I've been talking for a long, but I will be doing my pregnant at 16 after this video, because I do have 2 kids. I have 2 kids, you guys, and I'm 21 years old. Can y'all believe that? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more videos. And if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe and like this video and comment. Also leave me more ideas on what kind of videos you guys want. But yeah, you guys, so thank you so much for watching. I love you, and follow me on my Instagram. Bye guys, thank you.